Frequently asked question number 42. How much sun do Echeverias prefer? Now guys, ideally almost most of the varieties of Echeverias prefer a good amount of morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours after acclimating it, but they will also do quite well in indirect but bright light or medium bright light. They will love that, and in fact they will also let you know if they do not get that correct amount of light. They will let you know by showing signs of stretch or probably fading the colors. They will not look very vibrant. Now over here, as you can see, this is another Echeveria. I'm not very sure about the name, but this is an Echeveria species. You can see the leaves are very compact, and when I'm going to turn it around in the sides, you can see it has a slightly purplish tone to it. Now this succulent is kept in morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours, and you can see how compact it is. It's very compact, which means that it's quite happy in that location of light that it's kept in. It's enjoying that light, so it looks absolutely beautiful. It's about to bloom. So a lot of these Echeverias, they prefer a good amount of morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours, or there has to be indirect bright light throughout the day. Like how we talk about direct sunlight, that has to be around 5 to 6 hours, but there is no time frame for indirect bright light because it's in a form of indirect light, so it has to be throughout the day. But being said that, there are certain varieties of Echeveria. Now here we have our Echeveria elegans, which is Echeveria elegans Mexican snowball. Now this succulent does not prefer morning direct sunlight, it only prefers indirect bright light. The colors also don't change on this succulent. It tends to stay more on the green, pale green color with a good amount of farina on it. Even though it has farina, it does not prefer morning direct sunlight. Probably you can give 1 hour, that's more than enough, but not 5 to 6 hours. So we cannot put all of the Echeveria under the same category that, okay, all of them want the same amount of sunlight, 5 to 6 hours. There are certain Echeverias that do not prefer. So you need to check accordingly which are the succulents. There are few of the Echeverias that don't prefer morning direct or direct sunlight for long hours. So this one is being kept in indirect bright light, but it's positioned in such a way wherein half of the place tends to get a good amount of direct sunlight. So these Crassula thorn stump tend to get a little bit of sunlight because they are almost at the edge, and the sunlight tends to fall on them, whereas this one is more on the partial shade side, wherein there is a good amount of indirect bright light. So both of them are doing extremely well. That's the reason why this is slowly trying to turn towards the more sunlight kind of an area, but you can see the colors are still present. They are looking absolutely beautiful, but still both of them are coexisting in the same pot. As you can see, the reason is because the pot is placed in such a way wherein it gets morning sunlight for around 1 hour, after which this portion where this succulent is, the Mexican snowball, it gets partial shade, whereas this continues to get a good amount of morning direct sunlight through 5 to 6 hours. That's the reason why I've pushed it little to the edge, and then it is starting to bend towards the light. As you can see, it's more towards on the right hand side, so that's where the sunlight tends to fall on the tips. That's why they are more colored, whereas this one tends to stay in partial shade and gets indirect but bright light. So this was one of the variety of Echeveria that does not prefer a good amount of direct sunlight. The second one is the albicans. As you've seen, this I've shown you earlier as well, the Echeveria. This also tends to stay green throughout the year. It does not change color. Whether it's dormant, whether it's in its growing season, the colors tend to stay the same. Hence, I do not expose this variety as well to direct sunlight. So basically, you need to check whether they tend to change the color or no. But majority of the Echeverias, they have really bright colors, and hence most of these varieties are exposed to direct morning sunlight. Like here I have another Echeveria. Again, I'm not very sure about the name, but you can see it has this beautiful red edges, and even this is being placed in morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours. And you can see how compact the leaves are. There's a lot of new growth coming out, which is also having this beautiful colors on them. So the more you're going to expose it to the direct morning sunlight, the more brighter the colors will be. Apart from that, the temperatures also play a very important role. If it gets too cold, the colors will get even more intense. If it gets too warm, the colors will get very intense. But again, when I'm talking about these climate changes, it has to be in that minimum limit. Let's say 20 degrees for a cold region, and 30 during summers. 20 during the winters and 30 during the summers is going to have these beautiful colors on them. So So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button, and thank you so much for watching.